Good day, everyone. I'm John Keith Fontorum, and I'll be presenting DOST-ASTI's efforts on applying artificial intelligence for mapping purposes. Like what was discussed earlier by the Penter team, DOST-ASTI houses a lot of Earth observation images from various satellites. At the forefront of this, of course, are our own microsatellites, Diwata 1, Diwata 2, and Maya 1. So maybe nagtataka kayo, why is the Philippines, a third world country, is heavily investing in these space assets? Well, there are a lot of reasons, and one of those reasons is so we could extract useful maps from these satellite images. And in this presentation, I will be highlighting a few examples of these maps. We are utilizing the power of data science and artificial intelligence in processing these images. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is actually a game changer in the field of remote sensing because it allows us to provide timely maps to our users and stakeholders. In comparison po dun sa typical na remote sensing workflow on satellite images, aabutin po ng days or even weeks bago tayo makapag-produce ng output maps. Or from the satellite images. Using AI, we were able to produce these maps in a matter of hours. Most of our AI4Mapping efforts are actually being handled by DOST-ASTI's DATOS project. DATOS project specializes in processing satellite imagery and other Earth observation data to produce pertinent maps used by various stakeholders. One of the project highlights was the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in their remote sensing workflows to expedite and automate the production of their maps and to be able to handle on-demand support and requests from clients from disaster events like typhoons and earthquakes. So, why do we want to produce maps from these satellite images in the shortest time possible? Well, this point will be explained more clearly in a later slide. But for now, let me give you a highlight on a few of our outputs. The first application of these AI maps is on infrastructure assessment and detection. Shown here is a PlanetScope optical image of Baguio City. I think this was taken circa 2018, if I'm not mistaken. The yellow areas here shows the built-up areas of the city. We define built-up as any man-made structures. So this map shows the urban density of Baguio City at the time the image was taken. We can also further derive a lot of analysis from this AI map, and one of the more important ones include assessing urban sprawl of a particular area. So if we are able to produce built-up maps of a given area across different points in time, we are able to model yung degree of urbanization na nangyayari sa isang lugar sa paglipas ng panahon. The map on the screen shows yung increase of settlement areas in Davao City from 2013 to 2016. We were also able to detect road networks from satellite images. Shown here is a PlanetScope image of Muntinlupa City. We were able to train an AI model to be able to detect yung road network profile dito sa satellite image na to kahit na admittedly medyo low resolution na yung image na ginamit dito. Project Dime of DBM from the Build project uses these AI models that we developed to remotely detect changes dun sa ongoing na road infrastructure projects ng gobyerno. The next AI model, ito naman, kung yung kanina nakaka-detect ng buildings and other built-up areas, ito, yung dinidetect niya ay damage na structures. So, in combination with the built-up AI model, this AI map can map out yung extent ng damage at a given location. The image shown here is a digital globe image of Marawi City after yung nangyaring siege or insurgency dun sa area. Proceed naman tayo sa AI mapping applications involving agriculture, fisheries, and resource management. So this application quantifies the level of drought in an area by using an indicative metric called the Vegetation Heat Index, or VHI. The VHI indicates yung level of vegetation in an area. Yung quote-unquote low health of a vegetated area denotes high stress levels dun sa vegetation due to dryness and heat. Yung VHI na to, this can be detected from satellite images. The more stressed the vegetation is, the more likely that it is experiencing drought. The image shown here is a VHI map of Occidental Mindoro on Feb February 5, 2019. During this time, I think the Mindoro region is experiencing El Nino. And note the extreme levels po nung vegetation dun sa Occidental Mindoro area as shown on the lower left. Yung mga red na areas dun sa mapa. We are also able to map out agricultural crops like sugarcane, rice, and corn from radar images through a technique called dynamic time warping or DTW. In cooperation with the Department of Agriculture and Sugar and Regulatory Administration, mapping these high-value crops using advanced RS methods like the aforementioned dynamic time warping would help streamline and hasten yung activities nila like inventory, yield projection, monitoring, data analysis, and assessment. Using yung mga previous na AI models na na-develop like yung build-up and roads, we were also able to automate yung production ng land cover of a given region. Shown here is the land cover map of Butuan City from Agusan del Norte. The map is subdivided into 5 land cover classes. We have roads, bare soil, water, built up, and vegetation. The base image that was used here is a PlanetScope optical image. The development of this AI model is in collaboration with the National Mapping and Resource Information Authority or NAMRIA. Another AI map that we developed is the detection of aquaculture structures from radar images. Using artificial intelligence, we were able to account, map, and monitor nationwide fish ponds and fish pen facilities. This research is in partnership with the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources or BFAR. We also have a memorandum of agreement with the Philippine Statistics Authority for pursuing and sustaining collaborative research on the use of Earth observation data for PSA's 2022 Census on Agriculture and Fisheries or CAF. This image shows the use of the developed AI models para sa inventory ng aquaculture structures sa Bolinao, Pangasinan. AI4Mapping can also be used to detect trees and other types of vegetation from satellite images. Shown here is an AI-generated map of coconut trees from a digital globe image. Sorry, I forgot the location of this area. Ito naman, detection ng mango trees sa satellite image. This is part of an ongoing collaboration with the Bataan Peninsula State University. They are using this model for their inventory of existing mango trees for the whole Bataan province. The next applications of AI for mapping is on the subject of disaster risk management. If you'll recall kanina, I raised the question on the importance of producing timely maps as fast as possible. So in this section, I hope I could answer that question. This AI map shows areas kung saan may potential flooding. This one is a flood situation map of Cagayan, sa area ng Cagayan River, taken after typhoons Rolly and Ulysses made landfall in the province. The flood situation maps generated after every extreme weather event are sent to NDRRMC, OCD, DOST, and other affected LGUs to aid in their damage assessment efforts. This AI map application stresses the importance of having timely maps. Kasi if we would have to wait days for processing these maps, there is a high chance na po na humupa na yung baha by then. And as such, we won't be able to provide timely assessments as to the current situation on ground right after an extreme hazard event. Ito po another reason why it's important to produce timely disaster maps. The images show the areas before and after the landslide event in Naga, Cebu. So this one is the before image and this one is the after image. What we did was we ran the AI model for built-up detection dun sa before image para po mamapa namin kung nasaan yung exact location ng mga kabahayan. Then, we overlaid yung mapa ng mga bahay dun sa after image para malaman kung saan yung mga bahay na naapektuhan. Then, we forwarded these maps dun sa search and rescue operation team on ground. Using the generated AI maps, enabled the rescuers to prioritize kung saang areas magsisimula for search and rescue operations, since they have the location coordinates of the houses that were affected. The map shows the areas potentially affected by earthquake-induced landslides in Makilala, Cotabato. Artificial intelligence models were used to predict the bare soil and vegetation cover from PlanetScope satellite images. Yung mga areas po na nagkaroon ng change from vegetation to bare soil are interpreted as potential landslide areas. This image was shared with PHIVOX and the Cotabato LGU. In a similar application, this map shows the potential areas kung saan nagkaroon ng forest fires sa Kabayan, Benguet. So yung mga nagkaroon ng drastic change of land cover from vegetated to bare soil, yun yung mga potential areas na tinamaan ng forest fire. This is using PlanetScope images captured from January 28, 2020 to February 22, 2020. So this is a summary of the AI4Mapping efforts that we have developed. The applications can be classified into 5 thematic areas: infrastructure, monitoring, food security, disaster risk reduction, climate change assessment, and security and defense. The ones in blue are the ones that we have existing memorandum of agreements. The ones in purple are the ones that we give freely pag may nanghingi po sa amin. And the ones in black are the ones in which we have ongoing talks for continuous development in the future. So with that, I will be ending my presentation. Thank you very much for listening and have a good day.